Hey guys, what's up? And welcome back. So, if you've been following my channel or watching any of my streams, you probably know that Rogue is my favorite class. I always have a Rogue, and Rogue is always my main character. I can have 8 different alts like I do right now, but the Rogue is always going to be my main and the most played class, with which I enjoy playing the most. So, with the Burning Crusade being here, the Rogues have changed. The talents have changed, the skills have changed, and the meta has changed a little bit. And I was looking online the other day and I saw so many different guides from 5 years ago, from 5 months ago, from 15 years ago. Some are 40 minutes, some are even longer than that. A lot of them have contradicting information, so I thought I'd come up with my own guide and I try to explain the Rogue in a nutshell in under 10 minutes. Everything you need to know, everything that's changing, best in slot builds, best in slot items, what build is for what role, and all presented under 10 minutes. So without further ado, I bring to you the ultimate Rogue guide. So what is changing with the Burning Crusade? Well, quite a few things actually. So we'll begin with the skills. In the Burning Crusade, Rogue skills will get a lot of rework and some new skills added. First and foremost, sap. So now improved sap comes by default. You no longer need any talent points or anything in addition to just learning the sap. Now whenever you sap enemy targets, you will not come out of stealth, which is a great addition and a huge buff. Next we have blind. So blind was also buffed. Now it does not require blinding powder, and it is no longer considered a poison, means it cannot be dispelled like a poison can. Speaking of poisons, and the cooldown of blind has been reduced by half. Speaking of poisons, there will be a new poison. Well, there'll be a couple new poisons, but the one worth mentioning is the wound poison. Now, all of the poisons for the rogues will no longer have charges and will last 1 hour from the time it is applied to the weapon. Now, wound poison is reducing the healing done by percentage. It used to just reduce the healing by amount, which is going to be a lot more vital in PvP when you're fighting healers. Garrett's skill will now silence for 3 seconds and will also increase damage dealt. Now Subtlety will actually receive a nerf. Subtlety will no longer restore 100 energy, will only restore 40, which still keeps it viable consumable for rogues. Now there will be new skills like Envenom. Envenom essentially is your eviscerate, but it works with stacks of deadly poison. So without the poisons applied, Eviscerate does more damage. But if the target has maximum stacks, which is 5 of deadly poison, then Envenom will overdo Eviscerate by damage. Deadly Throw is another finishing move that is being added to the Rogue skill book. Deadly Throw is essentially a throw of a throwing weapon, and it'll, depending on the combo points, it'll slow down the target and increase further damage done by throwing weapons. Another one important and useful skill being added is Shiv. Will use the offhand weapon and apply poison that is on the offhand weapon with 100% certainty. Very useful when you're fighting casters or healers. Now, the most important and probably the best skill that is being added to Rogue's arsenal is Cloak of Shadows. So in Vanilla era, the worst Rogue's enemy was the damage over time spells. When you get hit by dots, means you cannot vanish, you can't, stealth. Well, you can, but you will reappear shortly after. Well, Cloak of Shadows fixes that. Whenever you use Cloak of Shadows, it removes all magic effects from the Rogue, including damage over time, so you can safely vanish and disappear into the shadows. Cloak of Shadows, in my opinion, is the most important skill being added to the Rogue's arsenal. Now let's go over some talents. Obviously, as you've noticed, the Rogue's talents have changed. Now the most important talent changes are, there's 5. Combat Potency, which is for combat skill tree. This is the single most important PvE talent change. Offhand attacks now have a 20% chance to grant 15 energy. Huge in PvP fights. You get that extra energy means extra damage, so great for parsing. Now for PvP, the most important talent that is being added to Rogue's arsenal is the Shadow Step. It's essentially the ultimate PvP gap closer. When you use Shadow Step, it teleports your Rogue to the enemy. It increases your speed and increases your damage at the same time as well. Probably the most important skill for PvP. Another really good one is Cheat Death. It's also a game-changing PvP talent. So if an attack would kill you, instead you drop to 10% health and receive 90% reduced damage for 3 seconds. There will be some changes worth mentioning to sword specialization. It's actually a buff, so it no longer interferes with your main hand weapon attack timer. See, in Vanilla Classic, it would the proc for the extra attack would often reset your swing timer. Well, in TBC, it provides a true extra attack without wasting the swing time or without resetting the swing time. And last but not least is Mutilate, which is an assassination tree. It's the last talent in that tree. What it does, it's like a backstab on steroids. It attacks a target with both weapons from behind, dealing weapon damage plus 44 and an additional 50% more damage to target that is poisoned. Now let's talk about different builds. There are 6 builds that I stand by, 2 PvP and 4 PvE. One of which I invented myself. The one of the PvP builds you will not find in any of the guides or tutorials, at least I couldn't. I designed it and built it myself. We'll start with the most common PvP cookie cutter build, which is this is what you will find online in all of the guides and tutorials. Now this is the best and the most potent PvP build for your arenas, for battlegrounds, for dueling. It's a 20-0-41 where you max out your subtlety tree, give some assassination, but skip combat altogether. In this tree, this is your stun lock or stun rogue. This is your crowd control, great utility, keeping somebody sapped, stunned, whatever, while applying very good damage. So if you're just looking for the best in slot build for PvP, for arenas or battlegrounds, this is your go-to build. Now, the one that I designed is somewhat similar but very different. It is also 20-0-41, but instead of the crowd control and stun locking, I went for burst damage, like as you can see, improved ambush, for example. So this build is best for world PvP or maybe 5 versus 5 arenas where you can go unaccounted for a couple seconds without raising suspicion. This build is best for coming out of stealth and doing a surprise attack. This bursts damage, like, you would get ambush, which will add 3 combo points. Then you either do the premeditation, which is 2 combo points, or backstab, or critical backstab will also add 2 points, and then immediately eviscerate or envenom, however you say it, if you have deadly poison stacks. That will literally kill any cloth wearer within 1 or 2 seconds. Within that combo, ambush, backstab, eviscerate, that'll take down pretty much any cloth wearer. Now after that, you have to vanish and kind of rinse and repeat. Now if somebody's expecting you there, this build is not the best. Again, this is glass cannon kind of burst, burn, and vanish build. Like I said, this is something that I've designed, and I really like it for like going into Orgrimmar and ganking Horde inside the capital city without them expecting. So you just appear, you burst out as much damage as possible, and you vanish before the guards get to you. Now, there is also 4 PvE builds. I will start with the most common, your cookie cutter sword PvE build, where you go 19-42-0. You skip subtlety tree, so subtlety is pretty much anything PvE, or I'm sorry, anything PvP is going to be in the subtlety tree. You max out combat tree, you give some to assassination. This is your most common sword build, rogue, max sparses in a raid setting. There is a slightly different twerked build where if you have mace in your main hand, a lot of rogues will go for mace because of their attack speed. Maces have very slow attack speed, and having a slow attack speed weapon in your main hand will do some really good damage outcomes with your skill shots. So a lot of people will have mace in their main hand just for that attack speed, and then something else in their offhand. Now, I don't really like this build, but the only difference is you do also give 5 points into mace specialization. But I think it's too much, giving 10 points into talents because you want to use 2 different weapon classes. So I would probably stick with the swords. Now, if you're a dagger rogue, there is also a build for the dagger rogue. Again, very similar, except you go for the daggers. I would say dagger rogue, well, you also give 5 to subtlety talents for the attacking from behind, because as a dagger rogue, you will be doing a lot of backstabbing. So there's the dagger rogue build, and there is one last build I thought it'd be worth to include. It's the mutilate build, where you max out assassination tree and you give some to combat, again skipping subtlety. So this is a viable build, but it will provide the least amount of damage output amongst all the PvE builds. So pick one, pick whatever one works for you. Me personally, I'm probably just gonna go for the cookie cutter PvP build and the cookie cutter PvE build, the sword specialization one. I'm not gonna try to reinvent the talent tree this time around, since I also will be doing a lot of 2 versus 2 arenas. Now, let's talk about items. There are tons of different items in the Burning Crusade, and there are many different phases showing different best-in-slot builds for the rogue. Now, we're not gonna go over them here in this video because there is a great add-on. The Loot Atlas, or the Atlas Loot add-on, the one we've been using through the Classic Vanilla, has been updated for the Burning Crusade. It also now includes your best-in-slot item list for all the phases of the Burning Crusade. Here's how to access that. You can see your best-in-slot item list, not just single item that is best-in-slot, but also the ones that are predating that item and like better in slot, good in slot, and then best in slot. Where to get them, how to get them, what phase they're for, etc. Now for your PvP best in slot, it's pretty much going to be your Gladiator arena gear. For very few small exceptions, like for weapons, for example, your glaives, which is the raid item, legendary item that comes from a raid, will be your best for PvP and PvE. But for 99% of the time, best in slot PvP items are always going to be your arena gear. What do you guys think? Did I miss anything? Do you have a talent build of your own that I have not mentioned here, or something that worked for you? Please add to my guide. It is work in progress. I'm really eager to hear from you. And if this video was at all entertaining, educational, or helpful, please return me a solid by liking this video and especially subscribing to the channel. Help my young channel grow. Your subscriptions is what keep me going. Thank you so much, and I will see you in that arena. Good night.